Welcome back, UFC gang. This weekend, some really fast. Every fight has apart from probably the main event. There's some fascinating stuff there, but some interesting storylines throughout. Starting with Khamzat Chimaev. Now he's 9-0. He was obviously the revelation of 2020. I think he was 5-0 in 2020, fighting every 10 minutes it seemed. Then he got COVID, and his fights was cancelled towards the end of 2020. And he really struggled with COVID, a bit like Volkanovski, really struggled with COVID. And his momentum kind of stalled a bit. Now, he's back. Obviously, last time we saw him, he was demolishing everybody. Relative note, I mean, nobody's in the grand scheme of rankings and that kind of thing. But he was 5-0, looking very good. This is the first time. This is the statement fight, not quite a legacy by any stretch. Like, I like my legacy and statement, knowing where those kind of fights are. This is his first and only statement fight. It's like, okay, cool. Where is Khamzat in terms of the rankings? So if he goes in there and starches Lee, like blows him away, round 1 or 2, knockout, cool. Then he is exactly what we think he is, and let's go off to the race, off to the belt, off to the top 15 rankings and beyond. If he wins a decision, I mean, if he wins this fight almost in any way, if he wins this fight in any capacity, it's cool. Tick on Khamzat, let's go. Obviously, if he loses, certainly if he gets knocked out, if he gets outworked in a decision, then we've got some questions to ask. So obviously, we can't really say Khamzat's this and that, because he looks great. Looked great against unranked, not elite level fighters, elite being the top ranked guys. So this is a statement fight. So the hype around Khamzat will, for me, start at this fight. It's not really started yet because everyone can go. Anyone who's half decent can go on a couple of fights, win streak in the UFC against certain people, certain opponents. A lot of people get a lot of wins against fairly average fighters. But it's about when you get into the real good fighters. And Lee is a good fighter, really good fighter, 18-6. So he's a tough guy. He's not just going to go in there and just get blown away. So this is one for Khamzat. What I want to see, what he's got. He's been good. He's not fought for a long time, and he has had COVID and he had it bad. So who knows? There's a lot of variables in this fight for me with Khamzat. And if he comes through it, looks very good, then I'm on board. I'm all on board the train, and it's off the races for him. Another guy who's proven himself a lot more, and he's obviously got the great Khabib Nurmagomedov's blessing, Islam Makhachev. Hold out the pronunciation. He's fighting Dan Hooker, who is going quick turnarounds. He's sort of trying to get himself back because he obviously got knocked out by Chandler. And now obviously Chandler went and fought for the belt off the back of that. Hooker had to regroup, go again. He's going against Islam, who is, by all accounts, a scare. Like, in terms of a barring champion, I mean, probably even including champions, in terms of like the background stuff from Daniel Cormier and obviously from Khabib and the rumblings, he's the scariest dude in the UFC. Like that's what I'm hearing. That's the kind of general gist about Islam, is that he is the uncrowned champ at lightweight. He's gonna maul everyone. It's a Khabib version 2, which, in terms of spectacle, it could be a bit peak for us if he is Khabib version 2. But he's looked very, very good. He's beaten some good people recently. He's on a 8 fight win streak in the UFC. He has lost, unlike Khabib. He has lost a fight in the UFC. So he's one of these, another same as Chimaev, but he's proven himself a lot more and he's got a lot more heat behind him. But they're in the same kind of categories, and we don't know how good they actually are. So Khamzat and Islam Makhachev are in the same category for me, in terms of they could both be the champions of those 2 weight classes. Could have welterweight and lightweight. They could easily be the champions of those 2 weight classes in the next year. And given the fanfare behind him, if Islam goes in there and just dominates Dan Hooker, he'll probably be next in line. It depends on how if he really goes and destroys Hooker, maybe submits him in the second round, third round, it could be a title shot next for Islam. That's how they're kind of pushing him along. So, or at least an eliminator against Gaethje if he wants to ever fight. But I think he'd get Gaethje actually fighting soon. But I think Islam's very interesting for me. Is he going to be? I mean, this is obviously another fight at similar level to the ones he's been fighting before. Obviously, Hooker's he's fluctuated between weights. He's kind of not been top for a long time, and he's obviously lost. So I think for me, this is one that's like, okay, cool. Let's see how can Islam keep making progressions and take out guys, because if you're the top guys, if you're a contender, if you're a champion, you have to just take the guy. You have to just win convincing. You can't be edging decisions, split decisions, or unconvincing stuff. You have to really go in and win the fights. You have to win, and then let the questions come as they are after that. Co-main is Petr Yan and Corey Sandhagen. Both of them are off losses. This is for the interim bantamweight championship. So the two guys fighting for the belt both lost in their last fights. Now Petr Yan obviously was beating Aljamain Sterling until he kneed him in the head when he's on the ground. I mean, for me, that's a legitimate loss. You can't. There's a reason why disqualifications are a real thing, and I know the stuff that Sterling did afterwards and during is kind of whatever, but Yan deserved to lose the belt because he needs someone in the head on the ground. Like it's black and white. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen a champion do in a fight, for sure. So he deserved to lose the belt by right. He was better than Sterling and he would have won that fight, but that doesn't really matter if you feel like elbowing someone in the head, or if you feel like kneeing someone in the head while they're on the ground. That's not in the rules. You can't do that. So, that is what it is. But Yan is probably the best bantamweight. I want to see him against TJ Dillashaw, especially a healthy Dillashaw. Speaking of him, obviously Sandhagen lost a very close decision. One of my top 10 favorite fights of all time against TJ Dillashaw back in, I think it was July. So it's TJ and Sandhagen both earned a title shot, or they both earned the thing. Even though TJ won, TJ got more injured than Sandhagen did, and here comes Sandhagen for the interim belt. So Sandhagen can beat Petr Yan, because Sandhagen took Dillashaw 5 rounds. Granted, Dillashaw was injured in the fight, had a cut, all that kind of thing. But I really liked what Sandhagen did, and it's going to be a fascinating fight. It's going to be to me it's the best fight on the card in terms of skill. It's the best fight on the card, or best fight on the show. I mean, I haven't seen the others, so best fight on the main card for sure. Sandhagen and Yan is going to be. I expect it to go 5. It could be a back and forth, and I'm hoping for another fight of the night, a Dillashaw kind of level thing, because Yan's obviously got his boxing. Dillashaw is more diverse in terms of his striking than Yan. So maybe if Sandhagen, because Sandhagen was getting the best of Dillashaw for a while on the feet. So this is the one I'm really looking forward to, actually. I'd give it slightly to Yan, just because Yan is really, really good. But that's the fight I'm looking forward to the most. Main event is Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira for the light heavyweight chat. I mean, if you told me 5 years ago that you're going to have Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira fight for the belt, the undisputed champion, this is going to be Jan Blachowicz' second title defense on a five fight win streak at 38 years old, I'd have been like, no way. Given that Jan was kind of very, very average his whole career. Obviously, John Jones left the division, managed to knock out Reyes, who was obviously wouldn't have his eye on the ball. Then he went and took out Israel. I mean, that fight, people don't talk about it enough. He beat Israel Adesanya, who's one of the best fighters in the world, period. So even though it wasn't light heavyweight, but still, kickboxing Israel is definitely one of the best in the world, and Jan beat him. So Jan's impressed me more and more. Obviously, beat Reyes, who was pretty good. Beat Israel, which is very, very good. Now they're in front of a stadium now. So obviously he beat Reyes I think it was at Fight Island last time, not much of a crowd. Then he beat Israel in an empty Apex Arena. So this is going to be, if any, it's not really a legacy fight, but this is one of those. If Blachowicz goes in there and takes out Teixeira, he's going up in estimations, because that's very impressive. Glover Teixeira, obviously, his claim to fame was he was dominating over in Brazil. He had visa issues. He couldn't get over to the country quick enough. Came over, and he was the scariest dude. When he fought John Jones, he was the scariest dude available. John Jones outworked, not demolished him, but beat him quite comfortably. Went through a bit of a kind of transitional period. He's 42 years old now, Glover Teixeira, but he's on a 5-fight win streak. Looked good against Santos last time. It's his second crack. This is his final crack. Obviously, if he gets knocked out and finished, that's gonna be it. But the division is so poor, he might hang around with another win. But the guys behind him, Walker, Santos, Rakic, Parashka, who actually weighed in as an alternate. So he's cut weight to 205, which is, it's always weird when they do that alternate stuff. It's kind of, unless these guys have a history of missing weight, I don't know why you would do that. I mean, for Ferguson, Khabib, that kind of stuff, you do that, but to just cut weight and go for a fight camp to not fight, I mean, you keep your body in good condition, but if it depends how much weight you cut. I don't know how much weight Parachka cuts, probably a little bit, but main event, like, I mean, light heavyweight championship. I mean, I would, I say my head and heart, not that I really apply those two to this, but I think my head tells me Jan's gonna win. My heart, if there is one for this fight, I would like Glover to win, because he's had a long journey, and if we're just handing light heavyweight belts out now that John Jones is gone, if everyone gets to touch the belt, cool. Give Glover a touch, because 5-fight win streak at 42 years old. He went up against John Jones. John Jones beat him. I mean, and he had to obviously sit and wait while people like Rumble Johnson, DC, Gustafsson. Now Jones, DC, Gustafsson, and Rumble Johnson have all left. Now we're down to like, who's next? We've got Glover, you can get a touch of the belt. Jan Blachowicz, yeah, go on, he can have a go. And then we've got the young guns, Rakic and Parachka and Smith, if he can get back. Santos as well, he's not young. Jimmy Walker. So these kind of, Johnny Walker, I think, which one of those two? One of them's a whiskey, one of them's a fighter. You check it out. So for me, yeah, this one is kind of a fun fight. The pressure's off. You're not really, in terms of a viewer, very casual in terms of, I'm kind of like, whoever wins. I'm not really that fussed. Light heavyweight's a bit of a mess, like I said. Both of these guys need to have their thing and move on so we can get some new exciting fighters. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be early, so we're going to get to watch it. And then UFC 268 is next week, so I'm going to do obviously a preview video for that. And I don't know if they've ever had back-to-back, not since the old days, back-to-back UFC card. I mean, next week is a bang of a card, so we're going to do that, Colby and Usman 2 at Madison Square Garden. But they don't normally have back, literally next week is the next UFC, the numbered event. So, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, again, appreciate watching. I'll catch you very soon.